The Obamas take a charitable
Hey, what did they
deduction.
pay, Lawrence?
Listen, I could do the Obama's tax return, okay? It's very simple. The guy is a salaried employee. He's got some book royalties, and he takes a charitable deduction. That's it, and he pays in the high 20s.
But is he paying his fair share, Lawrence?
Yes, he pays in the high 20s, okay?
He paid 18% this last year,
No
Lawrence.
one pays 35%. No one pays 39%. There's not a single person paying the top tax rate.
I do.
No, you don't, because you have deductions.
That's why Bill wants
you
to
have
do
deductions,
California.
Bill. But Bill, your form says 39, and then you put in all your deductions.
I gotta look at your form.
And your effective rate is much lower than what they call your nominal rate, which is the 39. You don't pay the 39. No one does.
Okay. Who's in the room with my accountant? You. It's ridiculous. Let me ask you about Gitmo. Let me ask you,
Sure.
everybody.
I served at Gitmo.
You were what?
I served at Gitmo.
You served at Gitmo?
I did.
Jesus Christ, what year?
0405.
What? That must have been depressing.
It wasn't.
It wasn't?
No.
No, because you were on the outside.
Well, fair enough. Fair enough.
You're a guard. It was, I mean, but you weren't depressed seeing the people in there, and you weren't bothered by the fact that most of the people in there were not terrorists?
I think the boogeyman that we've created about Guantanamo Bay is an absolute disservice to the men and women that guard detainees there every day. There may have been some things that happened in 2003. No, absolutely. There's a perception about Gitmo
so the
that's
people I should
wrong
feel
between
sorry
now.
for are the guards?
It's not about feeling sorry for anybody. I don't want anyone's pity. What I'm saying is we bend over backwards to ensure that detainees there are treated fairly. You can take issue with their legal
Well, then
status,
why are they on a
but the
hunger
treatment
strike? I mean, I bring this up
they've been
because
there for 10
Obama
years.
brought it up this week in his press conference, and he said he wants to close it. He tried to close it before. He ran on closing it. Congress wouldn't let him. He gets blamed for it. It wasn't his fault. He says, it hurts us in terms of our international standing. It lessens cooperation with our allies on counterterrorism efforts. It is a recruitment tool for terrorists. There are 166 people in there now. There was 779 at its height. 600 were released because they had no charges against them. They were just people they took off the battlefield. Only 6 of the 166 in there now have been formally charged. This is so un-American, just to take random people, throw them into a dungeon, and lock the key away.
See, that's what I got to call you. We're not throwing random people in a dungeon. First of all, there's a reason most of them found their way there, and if they were released, it wasn't necessarily it's because they were innocent. It's because they didn't have intelligence value, A, or B, you're right, we shouldn't just hold people indefinitely, but to compare Guantanamo Bay to like a Soviet gulag, it means you haven't seen it and haven't experienced the way we actually bend over backwards to treat these people humanely. You can take issue with the time and their legal status, but our guards there act professionally.
Why do you think they're trying to kill themselves en masse?
Well, who would want to be there for a dozen years anyway? I think the legal limbo there is a problem, and we should try to find a solution, but this administration, they've never, Buck McKeon is the head.
Can't we just, like, release them back into the wild and tag
You know how
them
many of
like
those
they
guys?
do with the moose? And, I mean, we have so much technology to follow shit. Can't we do that?
They're shooting at our guys on the battlefield in Afghanistan. The guys released from Gitmo are going back to the battlefield to fight our troops on the battlefield.
Why not?
It's that.
What would be wrong with trying him in the federal courts? The federal courts have a perfect record of convicting terrorists. They're pitching a perfect game. Why would we want to take them out?
See, but Bill, they've already blown all of the legal rights you'd have to have as a defendant in the federal court. They've already, you know, thrown away Miranda warnings. None of that stuff is present.
Torture.
So you can't do anything with them in a federal court now.
Okay. All right. Last week we started a very exciting round